Hello guys, my name is Desmond and I welcome you to my lesson for today where we'll be looking at your mathematics, obviously trigonometric functions. So ladies and gentlemen, please do allow me to say it is very much important that I say it is very, very much important because what I'm about to say, it's massively massively important, ladies and gentlemen, that I say a day without learning something new, it's a day wasted. By so saying, Hamisa, please, Cindy, please do make sure that by the end of each and every lesson that I conduct, you learn something new. Very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen, over there. So, ladies and gentlemen, before I even go deeper, is there someone who can confirm if I'm audible, and again, if you guys are able to clearly see over there? Anyone to confirm? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, 100%. So what I'm going to be doing in today's lesson, it's simply to take you through all of that information over there, and most importantly, I'm just going to read through the given information before we start tackling the questions. I'm not sure if there's someone who's trying to ask a question, but it's fine. In the meantime, let me read that given information. So remember, this question is sent in the group. So what I'm going to quickly do is to read through that. So it reads as follows. The diagram below shows the graphs of f of x being equals to a sine x plus b, and g of x being equals to c tan x for x being between 0 and 360 degrees. Okay, so let me quickly try to write that given information over there. So what they are simply saying is that we've got the graph of f of x being equals to a sine of x plus b, and again g of x being equals to c tan x. And most importantly, guys, they say for where x is actually between 0 and 360 degrees. Remember, this thing, ladies and gentlemen, it simply tells you that your functions start from 0 being there, and then it ends at 360 degrees. So the other way in which this can be represented is if maybe they say x, it is the element of 0 degrees and 360 degrees. Very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen, over there. So now, quickly, let's try to move to the next part of our lesson, which is quickly trying to do an interpretation of that given diagram over there. Okay, let's see. I hope you guys are able to notice that we've got two functions over there, one drawn in that marker and the other one drawn in red. So obviously we notice we've got a sine function and a tan function, and we can easily identify the tan function. I hope most of you guys did attend my lesson yesterday where I did an introduction to this chapter of trigonometric functions. So remember, guys, not everything is going to make sense in just one lesson. And again, I'm not really expecting all of you guys to 100% answer my questions, but it's a learning curve, guys. So that means we'll need to do more of this type of questions so that you are confident. But for now, in case if you feel like you are a little bit lost, don't worry that much. Just make sure to catch up when the lessons are posted online. Soon as you catch up, then you will be able to understand when we do some more lessons related to trigonometric functions. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've got the sine function over there, and also we have got the tan function over there. So also we know the function starts from 0 degrees, it ends at 360 degrees. So that means we might be answering questions based on information which is from 0 to 360 degrees. And I hope you guys are able to notice that this function of this function of f being this one of the sine, it has been shifted by whatever units upwards. How do I see that it has been shifted? I know that if you've got this x-axis where you've got angles there, whatever the values there, it could be maybe -1, -2. We know very well that if it fluctuates, it would do, for example, something similar to that, where the maximum and the minimum value are the same. If there it is 2, there it is going to be -2. But can you see, in that case, the maximum value, you have it at 3, and the minimum value, you have it at a -1. So I'm already able to notice that this same function, it has actually been shifted by whatever units upwards. I hope all of you guys are able to notice that. So now, what else can I say about this function of a tan function? You need to remember that. Based on our yesterday's lesson, where we sketched the tan function, let's say from -360 degrees to whatever, this is how our tan function looked like. So if I remember very well, it looked something similar to that. I just can't remember here if it was that, but I think if it was that. And we said for this one, that's if we have, for example, y is equals to positive tan maybe x. Here it could be a. I want you guys to notice that for a tan function where you have a positive a value over there, the function it's like that. Can you see this thing? It starts from the right side of that, and then you draw it towards the origin, and then it goes to that. But can you see the difference with this one? Can you guys see the difference with this one? So the difference with this one is that, can you see, it starts from this side and then it goes in that side, which means if it continued towards the negative sides, it was going to do something similar to that. So that means also here it does something similar to that. Also there it does something similar to that, meaning here it does something similar to that, and then here it does something similar to that. So the difference between this one and that one is possibly because this is for the one with a positive a value, and this is for the one with a negative a value. Just be careful of that, ladies and gentlemen. So it's more like if you've got a positive a value, of which in that case it's c, so it's more like if you've got a positive c value, then the function, it gets to be drawn like that. But the moment you have a negative c value, it's more like you flip it or you rotate it or you reflect it about a what is it, the x-axis. So it's more like you do that, and when you do that, you can see, let's say maybe this point, and let's also check that point. So when you rotate it like this about the x-axis, can you see this star? You now rotate it and then it gets to be there. And then also remember, you rotated it so that star, it gets to be, or that cross, it gets to be there. That is why these, that, all of this, all of that, all of that, it gets to be rotated and it looks as this dotted. I'm not sure. Hey, it's difficult to explain this thing in English, guys. Are you getting what I'm trying to say on this one before I even go deeper, guys? Like we shisha. Magaizin.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Determination. Wa utlwisisa ka for Northwest ya utlwana ko morago.
Sir.
Okay, in that case, let me remove all of these, then we try to answer the question. So I am telling you now, guys, questions related to trig functions, they are not that much complicated, but they are confusing. That one I can confirm. Not complicated, but confusing. Not complicated, but confusing. Very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen, over there. So for you to eliminate that confusion, that's if you make sure that you catch up on my yesterday's lesson. So now let's try to have a look at 6.1. What is 6.1 saying? Let's see. Before we even get to 6.1, can you see there's a statement there which says use the graph to answer the following questions for where x is the element of 0 and 360 degrees, which is what? Which is this information, guys, where they say x is between 0 and what is it, 360 degrees. Okay, so now let's try something. Let's try to have a look at 6.1. 6.1 says write down the values of A, B, and C. And this question is allocated 3 marks. Can you see what examiner is saying, guys? They are not saying determine. They are not saying calculate, but they are saying write down the values for A, B, and C, which means it's something that you need to pick up from this diagram and you just write down. So it's more like each question for each. No, 1 mark for each question. I'm not sure. Before I try to give you guys an answer, isn't there someone who wants to guess that one, guys, in terms of what could be the possible answer for that question? Mm-hmm.
Sir, can you please repeat the question?
Oh, so my question was, the question, actually, the question says write down the value of A, B, and C. And the question is allocated 3 marks. So I was asking if there's someone who'd like to try to answer that question. Remember, whether the answer is correct or wrong, to me, it doesn't really matter that much. As long as you say something, it helps me to understand where you are having some problems, and I'm going to even explain it further or better. So, anyone who'd like to try that question, write down the value of A, B, and C. Mm. I forgot that song which says, "When days are dark, friends are few. When days are dark, friends are few." So, Amy Tulisile, are you not my friend, my friend? Mm. Mngani wami, singakhuluma?
Ngisacabanga.
Oh, usacabanga. Okay. Akunankinga ntombo, cabanga lapho. Cabanga. But I think maybe let me try to explain how to possibly answer this question. I think our A can come from us maybe understanding the amplitude. And if you remember, guys, based on our yesterday's lesson, we said the amplitude, what is it? The amplitude is equals to half of the distance between the maximum and the minimum value. So remember, this A is on the function of sine, meaning our answer should be coming from that function. So you just have a look at that function and you notice that it has an amplitude that can be calculated. And again, it has shifted by whatever units upwards, which is something that we're also going to discover. And again, the C value is on the tan function. So that means we can get two answers coming from the graph of F being the sine. And then when it comes to C, you calculate, you determine it, or you write it, or you get it from that function of G being the tan function. So I'm not sure. If the formula says half into the distance between the max and the minimum, what is our maximum value on that function of f? Is there someone who can guess what is the maximum value? Hmm.
3, sir.
Yes, the maximum value is 3 because it's the distance we plus. What is the minimum value?
-1.
Okay, so remember, guys, since we are dealing with the distance, you substitute it as +1. Why? Because let's say you have this thing doing something similar to that. As an example, if this is 3 and let's say this is -1, the formula says half of the distance. So that means the distance, it's actually from there. You walk from there. You walk 1, 2, 3 units, and you walk another extra 1 unit. Then what is that total distance? Isn't it 4? So that 4 you get it by adding this 3 being maximum with that 1. So when we talk about the distance in mathematics, guys, we ignore the negative value. You will notice that when we deal with analytical geometry. Even in physical sciences, you don't include negative when you calculate for the distance. The negative only tells us of the direction. So in physical sciences, in short, the sign simply tells us more about the direction. So here also in mathematics, when we deal with the distance, that's why you will never have a negative distance. It's always a positive distance. The negative, it describes on which side of the Cartesian plane. So what is half of 3 plus 1? Is there someone who knows? My guy is in. Or are you still thinking?
2, sir.
Yes, it's 2. So it's more like it's half of 4. What is half of 4? Is it not 2? It's 2. So for me, if I was in exam, I would have straight away said A is equals to 2. But someone might not understand why 2. And this is how you get that 2. I'm not. Does it make sense to everyone in terms of how you determine the A value there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, 100%. So now, when it comes to the B value, remember, the B value tells us more about the vertical shift. And this one we know it is the amplitude of the function. So it's more like that function originally it started from 0 and then it went as high up to 2. It went like and then there's -1, there's -2. But now this function, because originally it was doing that at 2 and -2, it shifted this thing upwards. That's why we are having a B value there. So can someone tell if this thing, the graph of f, that one, did it shift upwards or did it shift downwards according to you?
Downwards.
Someone is saying downwards. Another one. Someone is saying downwards also. Another one. Okay. Someone said downwards. Maybe let's give you an opportunity to try and explain how do you notice that it shifted downwards. Remember, we are on that function. How do you notice that it shifted downwards? Guys,
No, because
someone
it's in same line as -1.
Shreyas has given his response. The other one who said it shifted downwards. What could be the reason there? Okay, so let me try to explain this one. So remember, guys, remember, for a function which did not shift, it doesn't have that B value. Just like this one. You see, this one is just that value there, and then you've got tan of an angle there without the B value or without plus Q, which means this one, it did not shift. So also for the sine function, if it did not shift, it was just going to be let me say, f of x being equals to a, then sine of x, and then it ends there. So that means its amplitude, it was going to be there at 2. So the maximum value was going to be 2, and also the minimum value was going to be the same value, which means it hasn't shifted. But now, if you shift it upwards by 1 unit, 1 unit. If you shift it up by 1 unit. That means the maximum value and the minimum value are going to change. What will the maximum value be if we shift this thing exactly as it is? We just shift it upwards by 1 unit. What will be the new maximum value?
Three.
It is going to be 3. What will be the new minimum value?
-3.
I think I need something that I can use. I'm just not sure if I can use this thing. Yes. I don't know what I can use for this one. Let me try these. Let me try this, but I don't think it's going to work, guys. Nah, it won't work. It won't work. It won't work. Maybe it could. Let me try to see. Can you see this thing, guys? If I shift this thing by 1 unit upwards, it is just going to shift like this. What will be the new
Will be
maximum value, guys?
maximum value will be 3.
Minimum value?
Will be -1.
Yes. And not -3. I almost collapsed when honorable member there said negative. Okay, so now let me take it to its original position. If I shift it by 1 unit down, so it is going to do that. What will be the new maximum value?
V1.
Minimum value?
2.
Yes. Okay, let's shift it now for the last time. If I shift it by 2 units, then it is going to be boom. So what will be the new maximum value?
Units, right?
Yes,
If
by 2 units upwards.
4.
And then what will be the new minimum value?
0.
0, sir.
Yes. And then what will be the amplitude?
Two.
Yes. The amplitude, it is going to be 2. So I think you are now having a better understanding. So it's more like the amplitude, it is not influenced by the vertical shift or the upward or the downward shift. The amplitude depends on the maximum and the minimum value. Just add those two values, then divide them by 2. You will know exactly what is the amplitude. So now, here comes a question. Bantwana bakaThixo, wase George Kokhe. Ladies and gentlemen, that function of f, did it shift upwards or downwards? That is my first question.
It shifted upwards.
It shifted upwards. Okay, you tell me, honorable member, how do you know that it has shifted upwards, or maybe by how many units has it shifted upwards? Balega ngenyawo zobili. Aw, ubalekile manje. Hmm? What did you say there? Okay, it's fine. Let me explain. So, if you want to know by how many units your function has shifted, you must first know the amplitude. So, since we say the amplitude is 2, it means this function, it was actually having its maximum value at 2 and -2. So that means there it was 2 and there it was -2. So because there's a b value, which means it could shift up or downwards, you now need to check at your new maximum value. Can you see the new maximum value now? It is a 3. It is a 3. So it's more like the shift or the b value is actually equals to the new max minus the amplitude. So it's more like this is the new max, which is equals to 3, minus what is the amplitude? Is it not a 2? So it's more like you minus it by 2, then it's 1, which means it has shifted by 1 units upwards. Or otherwise, because you notice that with its amplitude being 2, it has a maximum at 2 and -2. But suddenly, or all of a sudden, it now makes a new maximum there at 3, which means from there to there, it has actually shifted upwards by 1 unit, which means that b value, it is actually equals to 1 unit. Otherwise, if maybe it shifted downwards, it was going to now make a new what is it, a new maximum there at 1, and then a new at a negative what is it, a negative what, -3. So that would mean from there being 2, it shifted downwards to there, which means the new, what is the new maximum? Can you see the new maximum there? It's what? Is 1 if it shifted downwards. Then you minus by the amplitude. The amplitude would still be 2. So it's more like it's 1 minus 2. What is that? Is that not -1? So that means the b value, if it shifted downwards, it was going to be -1. I'm not sure. Am I not losing you guys on that one? Are you guys sure that you're not scared of saying I'm losing you there? Ningasabi. Ningasabi. Ngizol hey, ngizoli I will explain to you guys.
Sir?
How do I say explain in Zulu? Ngizoli chazela. Lebohang, am I saying ngizoli chazela? Chazela. Ngizoli chazela. Ningasabi bakithi.
Sir?
Mhm.
How did you get the new maximum?
How did I get
New maximum value.
oh the new maximum? Maybe because I did 2 maximums values. I'm not sure which one, on which one.
3, sir. The one that is 3.
Oh, this one that is 3. Okay. Can you see on this function of a sine angle plus b on that one of f, can you see?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So what is the amplitude? So that's where you start. You firstly start with the amplitude and you say, what is the amplitude for that function?
The maximum value is 3. And
Yes,
then,
the maximum value is 3. But you remember we calculated the amplitude to be 2. We said the amplitude is half of the maximum and the minimum, which is half of 4, because from there to there is 4 and half of it is 2. Do you still remember that?
oh, yeah. I get
Yes,
it.
which means originally this function, it was actually starting from 0 and going up to 2, and then at the bottom it went down to below 2. So you must first know the amplitude before you can know by how many units it has shifted. I think it makes it easy when I explain it that way, to say you cannot tell by how many units it has shifted before you tell what is the amplitude. So the amplitude is that same value for the maximum and the minimum. But what is that value? Is 2. That is the amplitude. But now, after knowing that the amplitude is 2, that's when we can say we now have a shift. How do you notice you've got a shift? It's because your maximum value and your minimum value are not the same. But if they are the same, it means there was no shift. I'm not sure. Does it make some sense now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. So now, can you see we have our new maximum value there? So when you want to know by how many units it has shifted, this is the formula that I've just discovered now, to say the shift is actually equals to the new maximum value minus the amplitude. We know the amplitude is 2. That's why we had to say 3 minus 2 is equals to 1. That's how we knew that it has shifted by 1 unit upward. I'm not sure. Are we all on the same page there? On
Yes, sir.
Safunukti in Kazel.
Yes. No, I understand, sir.
Is it everyone who's understanding?
To
Yes, now
understand.
we understand.
Yes. Don't worry, my guys. Then we'll still do some more of this. For now, you just need to be aware of everything that I'm saying. Don't be ashamed in case if it doesn't instantly make sense. As we continue and as we go deeper, that's when the yelling is going to be making some sense. Um, I'm only going to blame you if you allow me to continue without you understanding. So just make sure that whatever that I do, by the end of the day, at the end of the day, you understand Elegede. Okay, so now the C value. Before we get to the C value, someone tell me, did the function of G shift or not? Die
No, it
function
didn't.
van G, did it shift? Yebo noma cha?
No.
Ayishiftanga ne. How do you know that it did not shift? Mm? Waze kanjani? Okay, this is how you know. From the general formula, it is just g of x is equals to c tan x. And it is not having that plus b value, or that plus q value, or that plus p value, or that plus whatever letter. So it is just this, which means it did not shift. Do do you get the reason on my question, guys? Does it make sense to everyone? Mhm.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, in that case, how can we find the C value, guys? Is there anyone who'd like to try in terms of how can we find the C value?
I think that the C value is 0 since tan theater doesn't have an amplitude.
Okay, thanks for that input. Anyone to give it a try? No one to give it a try, nay. Okay, maybe let me try to quickly check something, guys. But the honorable member who said the C value is 0, yeah. Danger Hefar. So remember, if we can have our C being 0, it means it's basically 0 times tan x. What is anything multiplied by 0, guys? Mhm.
0.
Guys, what is anything multiplied by 0?
Any number that is multiplied by 0 is that number.
Hey, hey. My young sisters are not agreeing with that one. I'm telling you, honorable member.
Zero, sir.
It's zero.
Yes, anything multiplied by 0 is 0, not that same number. So it's more like the honorable member who said a 0 there. So it's more like a g of x, it's actually equals to 0. So maybe let's say it cannot be 0. It cannot be 0. Hey, 0, I'm just not sure of how to explain, but you can see, most honorable member, that 0, it means multiplying that, and then it's more like g of x is 0. Can you see, honorable member? So that means also a can never be 0. Or cannot be 0. Yeah, let me say that. The honorable member who said 0, can you see why it cannot and can never be 0 there? We are bonus. Okay, I'm just going to make an assumption that she can see that. But I want you guys to notice something. How about, remember, this thing is actually the same as just y is equals to c, a tan of an angle. Here's my suggestion, guys. How about we maybe try to use 1 point from there, and from that point have the x and the y value and substitute there and try to calculate for that c value. What do you guys think about that? Don't you think it's a good idea, guys? Hmm? Guys, hey, someone has got their mics unmuted. I thought maybe honorable member wanted to say something. Let me check. Who's got their mics unmuted? Let me just mute it from my side. Okay, it's muted there. I'm not sure. Guys, let's try to get a point from there that we can use. I'm already thinking of that point. Can you guys see this point? Is it everyone who can see that point there?
Yes, sir.
What are the coordinates of that point as you are looking at that? Remember, that point is on that function for tan. According to me, I think this is 45 degrees there, and y is -1. Just like that point, for example, there. What will be that value there? What is this plus that divided by 2? What is the x value there? Because I already know that y is 1. Mm? Hey, I'm not able to hear honorable member there, but let's see. 270 plus 360 divided by 2 is 315. This point is 315. And then now, which other point can we also use? We can still use this point, or otherwise we can use that point over there. Maybe let me use this point and see what I'm going to get. So that's where x is what? Is 45 degrees, and then y is 1. Do you guys agree with me on that one before I start calculating?
No.
Hamisa, you don't agree with that one?
Yes, because the one is actually negative and not positive.
Oh,
If you
yes. Yes,
and
yes, 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 yes. Hey, yes, 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 yes. Guys, do you agree with me or Hamisa there? Who are you subbing? Are
I
you
agree.
subbing me or are you subbing Hamisa there? No,
We
Shreyas,
agree.
you must specify. You agree with who? Okay, listen to this. Hamisa, do you agree with me or do you agree with yourself?
I agree with myself.
Me too, I'm agreeing with you, Hamisa. It seems like honorable members are scared of me there, Hamisa. Can you see them? They're afraid to say, we don't agree with you, say they. Can you see Hamisa? Magazen, at that point, what is the x value there?
It's 45.
What is the y value?
It's -1.
Yes, it's -1, and I wrote +1 there. Thanks very much, Hamisa. So now let's try to substitute. We have -1 being equals to c, and then we have tan of 45 degrees. How about we divide by a tan of 45 degrees on both sides? Let's see, that will cancel, and then we're going to have our c value. What will our c value be on that one? Let me see.
-1.
-1.
Yes,
-1.
yes, 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 yes. So that means c value, it is equals to -1. I'm not sure. Are you guys happy there with how to get the A, B, and C value? Is it everyone who's happy there?
Mina angizwanga lutho cause ngishusha i-network.
Oh, yo. Ngiyaxolisa ngalokho Ntombo. But one thing for sure, Amy, this lesson is being recorded. As soon as we are done, it will be posted. Sometime during the week, it will be posted, and you can easily be able to catch up. So just so that we don't delay the lesson for today, I think we can for now continue, and then you will discover some more when you catch up. I'm not sure. The other guys, are you happy there with that first question?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, 100%. Can you guys see how much we have spent on this question worth just 3 marks? But the information associated with this question 6.1 is way more than 3 marks. So it's not really about us quickly answering these questions, but I need to make sure that you guys understand, because the next question in your exam, you won't be asked in a similar way. You will need all of these tactics to apply in order to answer the question that you'll be confronted with. So it is very, very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen, that you fully pay attention to all the details. So now, quickly, let's try and move to the next part of our lesson for today, which is obviously question 6.2. Remember, guys, remember at all times to follow the numbering system used in the question paper. So now, write down the range of f. This question is allocated 2 marks. You. Anyone who wants to give it a try? Remember, guys, in case if you've got no idea, you can just mention so that I don't think you guys are still thinking there. Write down the range of f. Lebogang, usacabanga lapho noma cha? Or awuyazi le impendulo yale mbuzo le? Awuyazi?
No idea.
Tiamo. Okay, it's fine. Remember, guys, always when we talk about the range refers to the y value. The y value meaning they want you to give the max and the mean. This is the range, the max and the mean. What is the maximum value for f? Hmm?
3.
Is 3.
3.
What is the minimum value?
-1.
-1.
-1. All that you do is just to say, what is it? Y is the element of -1 and 3. That's it. Because your function of f, a range between 3 and -1. So that means it ranges within that. It's a wave. Just think of a wave. So this wave, it ranges on a maximum of that and on a minimum of that. So that means it's ranging within this range, Makaizen. Or otherwise, someone can say it is actually ranging between -3 and 3. So you can write that in a form of an inequality to say this range is actually between -1 and 3. The moment you start having this thing and you have something in between, you are simply saying this thing is between whatever value and whatever value. That's how you explain this thing. Or otherwise, it can be written or explained in that manner. So whether you give it that way, 2 marks. Whether you give it that way, 2 marks. But what matters the most, ladies and gentlemen, when they talk about the range, they always want you to comment on the Y value. When they talk about the domain, that's when they want you to talk about the X value. Does it make sense, honorable members?
Sir.
Okay, 100%. So now, let's quickly move to the next question, being 6.3. So everyone is happy with that answer, isn't it?
Sir.
Yeah, boo.
Sir.
Oh, that was a yes. Okay, then it's fine. 6.3 says write down the period of G. What is the period of G, guys? I got someone saying the period is equals to 360. Do you guys agree or disagree with that one?
Say it's 108.
Someone is saying 108. But who's saying 180 now?
It's 180 because G is 10.
Yes. Yes. So for tan function, the period is 180 degrees. It's only for sine and cos where it is 360 degrees. But only if, for example, you've got sine and then you have B, then you have angle. Or maybe it could be cos and then you have B and then angle. That's when you use that formula of saying the period is equals to 360 divided by B for these cos and sine. And then for tan, B angle, that means it is going to be P is equals to 180 degrees over that B. Maybe that B could be 2, so it's 180 divided by 2. For this 2, 360 divided by, if it's 3, then divided by 3. If it's 4 there, you divide it by 4. But can you see there, we don't have anything in between, so we assume it to be an invisible 1, which means it is going to be 360 divided by 1, which is equals to 360. So that means the period for G of X is equals to 180 degrees, and you score yourself 1 mark for that question. I'm not sure. Are you guys happy with that answer?
I'm happy, sir.
Okay, 100%. So now, quickly, let's try. Hey, someone is giving me flu. I wonder who's that. Who's got a flu, guys? Who's giving me flu? Hamisa, is it you who's giving me flu?
I have flu.
You don't have flu? Hey, okay. Write down the equations of the asymptotes of G. This one, Maka, is in. ningang disappoint. This one is 2 marks. Ndiaba umbela we hore bone bazwe kong disappoint. Anyone who wants to give it a try, write down the equations of the asymptotes of G. Anyone who wants to give it a try? Haibo. Someone is speaking, but they're not. Matumzen, is it you who's speaking there? What are the equations of the asymptotes of G?
It's 90.
Okay, maybe let me ask it this way. How do you see your asymptotes, guys? Okay, the Matumzin, what you are saying is 100% correct. So, guys, the asymptotes refers to the broken lines. Where are we having our broken lines, guys? Are we not
At
having
90
it
degrees
at where
and
x
270 degrees.
is equals to 90? So that means you're going to say x is equals to 90 degrees, and again at where x is equals to 270 degrees. That's how you score yourself 2 marks. So you just need to be aware that when we talk about the asymptotes, as far as trig functions are concerned, you only find equations of asymptotes only on the tan function. When it comes to sine and cos, you got no such. You get what I'm saying? You got no such. You only find it on tan. Trias, I won't go deep on this one, but you will tell them. You get it. If you don't get it,
Forget about it.
forget about it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm hoping everyone is happy with that question. So, it is as easy as that. Don't think it too deep, guys. The moment you start seeing broken lines, asymptotes, when the question comes regarding the asymptotes, you just say at where x is whatever value, that's where you have the asymptote. If you see another one at where x is equals to whatever the value, that's where you see another one. Very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen, over there. So now, let's move to the last question. Sure, this one, it might be tricky and it's allocated 2 marks. Okay, let's see. The question says, for which values of x is the graph of f decreasing? Yo. For which values of x is the graph of f decreasing? Yo. Is there someone who wants to give it a try, guys? For which values of x? For which values of x is f of x decreasing? I had like Tumza wanted to give it a try. Okay, Tumza, go for it.
So I think from the graph of x from 1 to 3, the graph of f is increasing. Then from that turning point of 3 to -1, the graph of f is decreasing. So values of x is 3 is to -1.
She's saying maybe 3 is 2, -1. This is what you're saying, ne?
Yes, sir.
You know, Tumza, I'm very much happy that you are actually able to notice something over there. Very, very much happy. Very, 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 very much happy. And I'm sure you're going to learn something out of this. Let's maybe have a discussion, Tumza. This 3 and this 1, is it the X value that they are asking about, or is it the Y value?
Oh, sir, it's the way feel.
Can you see?
Yes, yes.
But I'm glad because you are noticing something. Let's do it, Tumza. Just leave your mic unmuted so that everyone else can notice what we'll be doing over there. I want you to say it so that they can also see that it's not that much complicated. Everyone else is going to be encouraged to try it next time and also be able to get it correctly in exam. Let's start from there, Dumza. Guys, what I'm going to do is just to redraw that F. Actually, they're asking about F and they're asking about the X values. So that means the X values, we are only going to talk about the angles and not those vertical values, because the vertical values are the Y values. So they are asking about the X values and the X values are the angles. So let's start Dumza the Dumza. Starting from here, I'm going to redraw it. You tell me, Dumza, as I'm going like that, is it increasing or decreasing? Up to that point. Okay, it's increasing. Up to that point, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now let's go from that point. As I'm going like this, what is it doing? Increasing or decreasing?
Decreasing.
Decreasing.
Up to that point. You guys are saying decreasing. Okay, so now let's continue. From there to there, what is it doing?
Increasing.
Increasing. So the question is, at which X values, for which X values is F decreasing? You guys did mention decreasing somewhere there. At which X values is that decreasing?
Oh, sir, it's
From 90 degrees to 270.
100%. So it's decreasing between 90 and 270 degrees. So you write it as X is the element of what is it? 90 degrees and 270 degrees. Or otherwise, you can say between 90 and 270. So this is how you write it, between 90 and 270 degrees. I'm not sure. Does it make sense, guys? This is how you score yourself 2 marks, or otherwise, there. I'm not sure. Are you guys happy with that explanation? Is everyone happy there?
Sir.
yes, sir.
Matumzin, am I correct in saying with you trying that, you have learned that you won't make a mistake of using the Y value?
Yes, sir.
So you just need to be careful of that, guys, in terms of um, where is it increasing or decreasing. So I've always been saying that when you sketch a function, you always start from left to right. For example, for this one of ton, it's more like from there to there is decreasing. It continues to decrease. If you have to explain this one, you don't start from this side going that side. It's more like you always start from this side to that side. So that means we will start from there going in this direction, decreasing. And then this one also decreasing. But this one increasing. And then it makes a U-turn there. It changes direction. Then now decreasing up to there. It makes a U-turn. This is a point where it changes direction. U-turn means a change direction. A U-turn. So, for example, it was decreasing, and then there it starts to change. It starts to change, and then this is the direction it is going, which means it is increasing. I'm not sure, guys. Before I close this lesson for today, would you guys confirm that you did learn something new out of today's lesson? Was it valuable to you guys, this lesson of today?
Sorry, can I please ask a question?
Yeboo. What is the question, Hamisa? Hami, usasekhona lapho.
Oh, in an amplitude, is it always a whole number or can it be a decimal or a fraction?
A very good question, Hamisa. Let me maybe answer that by making use of a formula, Hamisa. You know, what I like about the formula is that it's going to give you exactly what you need. Let's say maybe we have this thing, Hamisa. Maybe there we've got, let's say, 3/2. Over there, let's say we've got 5/2. Maybe -3/2, maybe -5/2. And let's say maybe this thing, Hamisa, it does what is it? Let's say it does something similar to that, whereby this is that and this is that. So can you see, Hamisa, that the maximum value is 3/2. Also, the minimum value is -3/2. You tell me, Hamisa, by looking at this alone, would you say this function, let's maybe call it the function of Hamisa, h of x, would you say this function has shifted?
No.
Why? Because the maximum value and the minimum value are the same. They only differ in signs, isn't it? Okay, it's fine. So when you calculate the amplitude, Hamisa, we just know that the amplitude is half of the distance between max and mean. So you just substitute and say maybe 1 over is going to be 3 over that plus 3 over that. So can you see, Hamisa, it doesn't matter whether when you punch this, you get a decimal or a whole number. It is just going to be always a positive number, which could be a whole number or a decimal. So it's more like this formula answers your question to say it could possibly be a decimal or a whole number. Can you see there, Hamisa?
Yes.
Happiness. Did everyone get that part?
Yes, sir.
Any more questions before I close the lesson for today? Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you very much for joining. I hope you guys did enjoy as much as I did. My name is Desmond, and I'm out.
Thank you, sir.